Hey y'all, this is Kix Brooks, and you are listening to Rick's House. Everything you need to know about home improvement. And here comes Rick.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program live at 105.5 The Mix this morning. Glad to see you up and at it. Don't burn the biscuits. We're glad to have you in here this morning, Brother Skip. How be ye?
I be vertical, so I'm excited to be here this
Vertical
morning.
is good.
It's it.
Vertical is good. We got very special guests in the studio with us this morning. We got Wyatt in here with us this morning. He's going to keep us straight best he can. He come over and woke me up this morning at 6 o'clock. And so we got him in here this morning. And dear friends of this program, great sponsors, company that you need to know that we've been after them, and they finally got it second, which they really didn't have time, but they went ahead and come on anyway. Our friends at Top Septic, and we're going to talk all things about septics and drain fields, and also we're going to talk about August excavations, about getting that foundation started and laid out right. And we've got some questions about that today. So we got Heidi and Josh. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
We're glad to have y'all this morning. And, you know, we met, I don't know, Skip, if I told you how we met. I had got back, Amy and I, when we first bought our travel trailer.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was holding a Pepsi can or a can of some kind. It may have been an adult beverage. I don't know what it was.
Some sort of soft drink.
Yeah. Well, it might have been soft. It might have been hard. I don't know which way it was. But anyway, she had a can. She was going to pour it in the septic tank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the black tank of the RV.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I swear, she said, I couldn't have done it again if I tried. There ain't no way I could have done it. It slipped right out of her hand, and she had the pedal pushed down on the toilet, and it dropped right down through that hole. I mean, just barely fit. I mean, right down through that hole and into that black tank. She said, what are we going to do? I said, well, there's two choices. We can dig it out or we can let it roll. So I opened it up, and I couldn't see it, and I thought, there ain't no way I'm digging down in that ain't going to happen. So we drove that travel trailer all over the United States, in every state but 6. Never had a problem. We get back up here in Kodak to my buddy's place. We're going to be for a while, and I went to drain it, and I pulled the black lever valve, and nothing.
Oh,
absolutely nothing. So I thought, that's a bad day. When the black tank's full, it's a bad day. And so I don't remember how I found Top Septic, but I saw it. Maybe I saw something on Facebook or something like that. So I called, and I got Heidi, and then she said, well, let me have Joshua call you on that. And so he called me, and I explained to him what my
lovely bride did,
what she had done, and what I had done. And he said, well, we're going to have to get to that from inside. I said, yeah. And he said, we don't need to be dragging no old hose that's been down in septic tanks. And he said, I got a brand new hose sitting here at the house that's still in the plastic. He said, I'll bring that over there tomorrow. And he said, this evening. And he said, let me look at it. And he said, then I'll send somebody by tomorrow to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. So sure enough, that's how we met. We ended up talking about an hour. I wouldn't let him go. We were sitting there shooting the bull.
Oh, of course.
Having a good time. And he did. He brought us a new, it's a 2-inch.
It was 2 inch.
2-inch, ain't Josh?
It's 2 inch, so it fit in the toilet.
So it fit in the toilet. So they come out there, and Jimmy come, and the next day, and he said, now I've got to turn that pump down on that truck. I didn't even think about that. He said, because, we're used to, if you're sucking out a concrete septic tank,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But if you put that pressure on a plastic, 30-gallon tank, you're going to collapse it.
Yeah.
And so they did. And as far as I know, it did it one more time and later on, and it ain't done it since. So we got that can out of there. I don't know where it went.
No.
I don't know if it went in the big truck or if it went down the hose or where it went, but we ain't had no more troubles. But they just do a good job.
That's awesome.
And, and Amy really appreciated it because, he was concerned about dragging that hose through the living room and out through the, in through the kitchen and in there. And so not only have they become great sponsors of our program, they've become great friends.
That's awesome.
And,
That's good stuff.
and we appreciate that so much because I appreciate knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what you're doing. And Top Septic is a veteran-owned company.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua, how many years did you serve?
I did 22.
22 years Army?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
22 years in the Army. Now, not only do they do your septic service, they'll put your drain field in. They'll correct the drain field issue. Maybe you got a crossover that's collapsed or, something like that. They'll deal with that. They'll drain your septic tank. They'll put you a new one in. He'll come lay your house out, dig your footers, driveways. It don't matter.
Wow.
He's got the stuff to do it.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved from over there to where we are now, I had pulled the trailer in there because I wasn't expecting to move. And then there was some stuff built around it. And I thought, Lord have mercy, what am I going to do? So I called Heidi. I said, reckon Josh get that out of there? She said, oh, yeah. So he come over and looked at it. He said, I'll be by here after a while. We get that out. He come up there with that mini track hoe and just picked that thing up and backed it down out there and put it on 350 and said, where we going? And so just been dear help to us.
Awesome.
And everybody we recommend them to loves them. And I tell you, I get a lot of people asking me, who to use, and they're the folks to use.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good folks out here, but they're the best as far as I'm concerned. So they take good care of us, and we're proud to have them. Y'all stay covered up. I know you do, but you can work somebody in pretty good. I mean, if it usually can get to them pretty quick, can't you?
Yeah, we try. We actually just a matter of, what kind of situation they've got going on, so how quick we can get them in there. And, we try to make room for people. We've got everyday jobs that we do every day or just routine maintenance that we can slide one way or the other and try to get an emergency in there if we can.
Right. And, that's the thing. People ask me all the time. We used to. Of course, if you'd like to talk to us this morning, we'd love to hear from you. We promise we won't yell at you on the phone.
No.
I know it's a whole different world. Everybody texts us and everybody does those kinds of things, but you can reach us if you'd like to chat and got a question about your septic tank or about, your footer or excavation or any of those kinds of things. Maybe you're having it and something's not draining good. Those kinds of questions. You can do that. Call us live in the studio, 865-932-7499.
No,
7449, excuse me. 865-9. I didn't have my glasses on. 865-932-7449. And then the Miracle Method message line, you can text us at 865-255-3911. That's how you get us if you want to just send us a text message.
Or you can email us at rickshouseradio@gmail.com.
Rick's House Radio. Philip, good to see you this morning. Debbie, good to see you, cousin, in here this morning listening to us. Biggest question I get, and everybody asks me all the time, what should you put? Should you treat your septic tank in your drain field?
He's pointing
to Mama.
He's pointing to Mama on that one.
He said, Mama's going to get this one right here.
No, just proper
Just get up
pumping.
close to it.
Eat that microphone.
There you go.
Proper pumping is really the best thing you can do for your septic tank. If you use a lot of cleaning product, a lot of bleach in your daily, cleaning and that type of thing going into the septic tank, then you might add some active cultures back. You could use Rid-X, but you could use buttermilk or bread yeast.
Yeah.
All of those are good.
Yeah, because the ideal, and this, if you think about the science, so to speak, and I'm no scientist, that's for sure. But, you've got waste, both solid and liquid, that's coming out of your house. You've got a tank that's designed to hold the solids while bacteria breaks that down. As it rises, the fluids come across and the fluids go out into the drain field to be redispersed back into the ground. Well, you're trying to have this bacteria that's feeding it, so that it's processing, for lack of a better term, the solids. But then we're dumping, dishwashing liquid and bleach and washing powders and everything that we put in there that's killing it.
Yeah.
So it's a constant battle. Hence the gray water issue. People talk about, gray water and how, especially out west, that's the gray water gorillas out there, they lose their mind over that, which I'll be honest, I ain't a tree hugger, but, I don't have a problem with gray water.
No.
If you can get those soaps and stuff out of there. But needless to say, you got to do what the county says, and that's the way it goes. And you do that through environmental health, and y'all work with them. Of course, y'all licensed to do all that stuff.
Yeah, we are. We always recommend to actually go through the county, and it's more so to where, we're not only protecting the environment, but we're letting people that go to school to design that stuff that's got a little more knowledge of the soils than what it is. You just tell me where I need to dig in the area and what kind
show
of
me that map and turn you loose.
That's right.
That's right. When you think about East Tennessee, especially up here where where our voice is, whether it's Knoxville or Hamlin or Cobb County or Sevier County or Jefferson County or all the places we reach. I was down Plummet, Cedar Bluff, and then I was out at in Carnes, and we were wide open down there the other night on the mix. But there's typically there's 7 different types of soil in this part of the world. Now I used to know the names of them. I don't know it anymore, but they are. You've got clay, and then you've got good soil, and then you've got some that's loamy, and you got all these different things that are different. And so it really takes somebody who knows what you're dealing with, because if you put a drain field in there where it ain't going to drain, it ain't going to drain. Will it, Josh?
No, it won't. There's actually a math to it. When we typically talk about a 1-bedroom, we say 120 feet per bedroom, but sometimes when the soil just won't take the water away, it could be 175 foot for that 1-bedroom system. So
because it's slow in its drain.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, which makes sense, and you think about that. Now, Heidi taught me something. Now, because we were talking about, Amy and I've been looking at lots and trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that eventually when they get where they're reasonable. My good gracious, I can't believe what property costs. We've had that discussion, ain't we, y'all?
It's bad.
And but we was talking about that, and there was a lot that I was interested in, and it tested when they did a perk test, which is where they put holes in the ground, they fill them up, and they see how long it takes for the water to absorb, and whether it'll perk or not means whether you can put a drain fill in there or not, for the basics of it. And so this tested for a one. Let's see, how is it? Did you tell me 1 bedroom? Now you can have more than 1 bathroom. Now I didn't know this until Heidi told me. It's tested on bedrooms,
not bathrooms.
Not bathrooms. You can have a 1 bedroom and have 2 bathrooms.
That's good.
Right.
Especially if you're married.
Yeah.
His and hers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that. And I've been building houses since 87.
Wow.
So that's just something I didn't know. And that's the kind of stuff that y'all know, and you can help someone especially when they're looking at that property. Yeah. Do y'all do perk tests?
No.
You let soil scientists do that.
Right. Tennessee soil
scientists. I don't know how it is now, because it's been a long time since I've done a drain fill. But back in the day, you could, and I think you can now. Can you hire your own soil scientist, or does the state, each county have one? Some do, some don't. Most of them don't, do they?
I don't think they do anymore. I think you have to just hire your own. And they do have a list at the health department that they'll send you of the soil scientists, and then you just call them and they do it, and they give you what's it called, Joshua? The soil map they give you. And,
they give you a soil map and shows.
You give that to environmental, and then they're able to drop your map.
Right. So that goes through environmental health. And I know that when I reached out, as we've been looking at lots, y'all, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and start calling them, because man, oh man, those guys and gals are busy. Them soil scientists is busy. I mean, they're busy. I don't know how many of them they are, but there must not be that many, because they just stay covered up.
There's so much building going on now.
Well,
in this area,
Richard Edwards Plumbing Service, a good friend of mine. I think I ain't heard from him in a long time, but it's good to see him on there with us this morning. Does a fantastic job, and Edwards Plumbing makes that happen. So, Richard, glad to see you in there, and hope you're doing well, brother. So, without that, you ain't building nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Without a drain field, you're down now. There are alternatives, and we'll get into that today. And I know that that's something you've been looking into, Josh, and in some degrees. Are there other things we can do when we have those soil conditions that are not exactly what we want?
Yeah, honestly, there is. There's some systems that's called an aerobic system. Now, we're not installers of that. More so that I've not really done a whole lot of research, because about everything land wise around here where we're at, actually will take some sort
you can
of
find
water.
A place.
Right. So, they don't do that, the aerobic systems, too much. And I guess the aerobic system's more of a treating. It treats its everything, and then it comes out and it pumps out and basically sprinkles out onto the ground in a clean water. So, like I said, I've not seen one directly here, but I've heard of them being around here.
Yep. And they're not cheap.
They're not, I mean,
That's
you're thinking
expensive.
You got a septic tank, you got some sort of pump tank, and there's a treatment box of some kind that's basically adding some sort of bleach to it that's killing some of the stuff, and then it just sprinkles out like you watering your lawn. So
right, and that's some of the things we're going to talk about today. Like I said, we're glad to have Josh and Heidi in with us today. We'd love to hear from you. 865-932-7449. 865-932-7449. You can text us on that Miracle Method message line. We got a full month coming up. We got Josh and Heidi today from Top Septic, one of our favorites. Next week, we have Preferred Custom Homes, Preferred Modular Custom Homes coming in. Then after that, we're going to have CMG Mechanical, great friends of the program, in with us. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have Anita with Cozy Mountain Cabins in with us. I talked to her yesterday. She was going to try to come today. I said, you need to know Heidi and Josh now. You got 17, 18 rental properties that you need to know. She said, I do need to know them. She said, but I'm headed over to get something to eat. And I said, yeah, you're going to casinos where you're
bless her heart.
That's right. But anyway, I think she was actually going to a concert somewhere. But needless to say, well, we're going to take that first time out. And when we come back, we're going to jump into this conversation. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us on Facebook, too, those of y'all watching us there. And we're going to talk about everything you need to know and want to know. If you need a septic tank pump, we're going to talk about that and how often you should get that septic tank pump. We're going to make that happen today. We're available to you. It's Rick's house. It's Saturday morning, and we're glad to have you with us. Wyatt, tell them.
We'll be right back, folks.
About food, and this Friday and Saturday is $5 days. Save big on many of your favorite items store-wide. Nobody does food like Food City. This Friday and Saturday is $5 days. Save $5 on Pick 5 meat. Final price $14.99. Fresh cut fruit bowls or octagon trays $5. Boston Market or Lean Cuisine meals 2 for $5 and more. Certain restrictions apply.
Value every day, Food City.
What happens when you take 20 years of experience hanging metal on NASCARs and you put that into another business? The business I'm talking about, Miracle Method Resurfacing in Knoxville. My buddy Chris Stacy and his team are there for the detail. therefore as good as a job can get. They understand working with tight tolerances and working with a finish that has to be almost perfect. If you're thinking about redoing your countertop, maybe you're thinking about redoing that avocado green bathtub, or maybe you're thinking about that epoxy floor for your hot rod in your garage. Think nowhere else. Miracle Method of Knoxville is the place that can help your dreams come true about that new tile surface or any other finish in your home. Call them today, 865-693-5522. 865-693-5522. Tell them Rick's House sent you.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock too. Sign up today and get 1 month free plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
Blaylock Companies is proud to be a part of East Tennessee's growth since 1962, and we understand that getting rid of the old is a big part of building the new. Blaylock's delivers disaster recovery and demolition services for residential, commercial, and infrastructure jobs, providing specialized equipment, recycling of aggregate debris, dumpster rentals, and remediation services. Blaylocks will help get your site ready for your next project. Call Blaylocks at 453-2808 to help you build a better East Tennessee.
Mix 105.5 is powered by the all-new Rocky Top Ford, now open in our state-of-the-art location with our same great staff at 850 Winfield Dunn Parkway between Wilderness of the Smokies and Chick-fil-A. Rocky Top Ford, your Smoky Mountain Ford headquarters.
PreferredModularHomes.com. Whether you want to change some decor items or come in with a floor plan sketched out on a napkin, we're confident we can help you create the home of your dream. PreferredModularHomes.com. 865-512-9251. 865-512-9251. 7140 Clinton Highway. Come see us today. Talk to Ben. Talk to Scott. Get that modular built for a lifetime. PreferredModularHomes.com.
Waking up between you and Mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program live from 105.5 The Mix. That's MIXX1055.com. If you're listening to us on the streaming there, also you can listen to us at the Rick's House radio show on Facebook and my personal page, as well as the 2 pages on YouTube.
which I need to promote that better. I hadn't done a good job with that. I don't understand all this stuff, Skip.
Oh, the technology.
All the technology. It's way ahead of me. I just mash buttons till something happens.
That's it.
And that's something else. We got to find us a good computer guy. Y'all got a good computer guy, gal? We need a good computer person that can come in and fix some of the stuff I got going on.
Yeah, we had some back in the day, but I don't know.
Our engineers are so busy running radio stuff, they don't have time to fool with it.
And everything's disposable now.
Yeah.
You just go buy a new one.
My billfold don't allow that.
Exactly.
And so we've got that going on. Joining me on the program today, Heidi and Josh from Top Septic, our favorite bunch to be in here with us, as well as my nephew Wyatt's in here. He's doing pretty good this morning. He's a little ugly, but he does the best he can. I got him revved up on some coffee and a cream-filled chocolate donut this morning. He's good to go. Give that boy some sugar.
Oh, good. He won't doze off then this morning.
Yeah, he took a nap on us last week, didn't he?
Took a nap. Yeah. I heard this. What is that? He was napping over there.
You got to watch him. He does that. When I lived in Florida for those periods of time, and of course in other places across the country that we lived in, we were talking about alternative types of drain fields and things like that. And when you ever go to the beach and you see that house and you see that big mound in the front yard, that's a drain field.
It's a drain field, yeah.
Because let's take Panama City, for instance. I lived there 13 years. Amy and I did 7 years the first time and 6 years the next time. You're going to hit water at a foot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in Florida, absolutely.
And so, it was interesting because we had a well for our plants and, for the yard and all that kind of stuff. Well, the well was a deep one. It was 10 feet. And basically what it does is,
water,
because it's sand, it just has to be able to be strong enough to pull the water through the sand, which filters it. And then, you got a 10-foot well that you run for your, everything. Of course, it's got all kinds of minerals. And if you run against your house, you get that orange iron all over your foundation, especially a stucco house, which we won't get started on stucco houses. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Or drive it, especially. But, so we did. We had a 10-foot deep well. Now, we were fortunate we were on city sewer, so we didn't have to have a drain field there. But in a lot of places, they have that drain field. Sometimes they work good, sometimes they don't. I'd see people drive their truck up on top of it, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. That's not that. Do you not understand there's collapsible pipe in there?
Oh, gosh.
That's a couple things, Josh. When they call you and Heidi, and they say, we're nothing's flushing. And, we believe our septic tank's full. Do y'all find the lid? Do they find the lid? It's better if they find the lid and have it ready for you, ain't it?
Well, it's cheaper for them for sure. Ours is a matter of, we can do it or they can do it, but we've got a probe normally, probably 8 times out of 10, and we actually have to find the septic tank itself, let alone the lid.
Right.
Some people, they point us out there and it's over here in this area. And,
right. You're looking for that dark green grass.
Right. Way that or a nice, pretty square in the yard somewhere, But,
right. Or looking for that 4-inch clean out. There's 3 inches. 3-inch clean out or 4 inch?
It depends on what your pipe is coming out of the house. It could be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's good for people to know where their gas lines are. We hit 2 of them last year with probes. So.
That's always fun.
Oh, they're on the opposite side of the house from my septic tank.
Well, that's a good thing because, sometimes they decide to run it right over top of the septic tank.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've dug up a few gas lines right on top of
that. Boy, I hit a gas line on a Sunday in a neighborhood, and I was building a spec house. Whole neighborhood smelled. Well, I ain't going to leave it. I'm going to leave it like that. But thank goodness I had called, and they had marked it and missed it, because they'll miss it sometimes. They don't always get it right.
Oh, they will.
But if they've come out and marked it now, if you've called, what is it, 811 or 611? 811. You call 811, and that's the thing, folks. If you're going to have anything done in any kind of excavation, in Joshua T, in your yard, anything, I don't care what you're doing or what you're digging, if it's going to have any depth to it at all, call 811. They'll come out there for free, and they'll mark all your lines. Then that way, that would have cost me $10,000. because KUB come out there and bent the pipe over and taped it until Monday when they could bring a crew out there to put what they call a hot dog on it to patch it.
Mm-hmm. But why would you put your gas line over a septic tank?
Well, it's like everything else. Whatever the easiest route is to get to
cheapest.
It. Okay. They just dig a line, go through it,
Right. Wow. Well, I said the tank is deep enough. We'll just go right over the top of it, right over the lid where you can't get the lid off.
I know where mine is. Where the lid is, I don't have the slightest idea. I point you in the right direction.
Are most tanks now? I mean, I know that back in the day, and I'm sure y'all see everything. Everything from cinder blocks laid, back in the day in stucco to, tanks to 800-gallon tanks to. I always put 1,000-gallon tank in just because there wasn't much difference in it, and I figured that's another 100 gallons we can put in there that, will make it, make it that much more to hold anything. Mm-hmm. I felt like anything you could do to let the tank work.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of scenarios. Knox County more than anything. I've not seen them actually permit anything below 1,000 gallons.
Really?
Yeah. So even if it's a 1-bedroom house, or say you're wanting to build a tiny house or build just a regular small 1-bedroom, well, a 750-gallon septic tank will suffice for that. But if you go to do any type of addition to that house,
then you
got to have a bigger tank. So some counties are starting to get to the point where they don't even allow a 750; they want 1,000 right off the rip. That way.
And the difference in cost is probably not that much.
Well, I mean, concrete tank, it's nothing. 750 is same price as a 1,000 when we're buying our concrete tank.
Well, that's an easy decision. Go 1,000 right there.
Right. Right. I might be a couple more cubic feet, but it ain't nothing major.
Right.
Major anywhere else.
Now, are y'all putting in gravelous systems now? Is that the ticket? Are you using a 10-inch corrugated? Or?
Well, I mean, we're still doing what they tell us to do, what round they give us.
They want. Yeah.
Our personal property, we've got one that's going to be a graveled system because it don't perk real well.
Right.
So the gravel just seems to work a little better than everything else. So
gives it a little more time to feed down through there, and then. And of course, you got to be careful. A lot of folks don't realize. Ron, good to see you this morning. A lot of folks don't realize. Do not drive across your drain field. If you've got an old system in there, it's got 4-inch corrugated going from one trough to the next trough, and you'll crush one of them 4-inch corrugated lines if you put anything heavy on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we do repairs all the time that. Back in the 80s, that's exactly what they did. Was a crossover was done with corrugated pipe. So
exactly right.
It wasn't done with PVC. It's still not recommended even with PVC to drive across your leach field.
Right.
But you got a less chance breaking a crossover.
I built a house. I built this particular house 3 different times in 3 different places, and it was a chalet style house with the front was open, had a 22-foot ceiling in there. It's a beautiful house. Matter of fact, we thought about maybe even building it when we build this next house and just not putting upstairs on it because all that glass that you put in the front and all that stuff is expensive. But anyway, I built that house in 3 different places and in 3 different ways, and I have no idea what I was going to tell you about it. But squirrel. Doggone it, what was I going to say about that? But anyway, long story short, that particular house had a washroom, which you got to consider, and it had 2 bathrooms, one up and one down. When you put all that in there, I had to put a pumping system. That's what I was going to talk about. I had to put a pumping system in. Now, of course, I wanted to put my house where they wanted to put the drain field. But no, we can't put the house there. We got to put the house down the hill,
above the drain or below the
drain field, and then put it into a tank and into another tank, and then that tank pumps 400 feet up to the top of the hill. And I was replacing pumps, I was buying expensive pumps, but something that runs like that and pushes something that far. That can be expensive if you get into a pumping system, can't it?
It can be, but now they've come out with so many different pumps and everything else that are working a little better. It's really just a matter of more science. If we can figure out how far we got to pump, what we're pumping, some people get a little feared of the pump systems, but honestly, once you understand it and it's a matter of being able to build your house anywhere you want to build it at that point.
Well, and it wasn't hard to do. I mean, matter of fact, this particular one they had a fit about, but where they wanted the tank to sit, I had a big concrete driveway for the basement. And so what we did is we just formed it up, and we poured the driveway around the lid and spanned it so that it didn't put pressure on the tank. And it was kind of complicated to do, but we got it done. But it was awful nice not to have to dig that lid up. I just pulled the grate off, and there it was, and pulled it out.
Well, I see some houses that have like a cap on top of the ground that gives you access to your septic tank. Yeah, I guess that's in the newer houses they're building.
Well, that's a riser. Honestly, we recommend everybody to put them on their tanks, but truthfully, they sell themselves. So just as soon as, a homeowner goes out there and finds their septic tank and digs it, and we can offer them a riser, they're like, oh, yeah, I want it,
That's right. Because if you ain't got some grandkids or a white close by,
right,
you in trouble, ain't you, what?
Yeah, but having that riser is nice because, there's many perks. If you end up with a clog in a septic tank in the middle of the night, you don't have to pay an emergency charge for somebody to come out there. You might be able to get the clog out yourself.
Right.
And then just the fact that, digging's no fun.
No, it ain't. And, my days of digging's over.
Right.
So, so the riser just sits on top and protects that space so you have access to it without getting, what does.
Basically, it's just, it's bringing the opening of the septic tank to level with the top of the ground. So it's.
Does it cause any problems with freezing or anything like that?
We've not seen none like that,
Right.
Yeah, I've not seen anything to be.
Well, draft's what gets you on that anyway. So if it's sealed off, then you don't have to worry about it. We were talking last week on the program about frost lines, and we're still 24 inches.
No, we're 12 here in East Tennessee.
12 inches in East Tennessee. No,
12 to 14 inches. Till you get into Gatlinburg,
everything changes in Gatlinburg.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Wow. And then dealing with rock. Well, if you got a lot that's rocky.
Just got a hammer and a lot of hours with a hammer.
That gets expensive, don't it?
It does.
But you got the machinery to make it happen.
Oh, yeah, we do. And, with the rock hammer, it's just a matter of sitting there taking the patience to, like you would anything else, just beat it out to get around it.
Yeah, that's part of it. And that's something that you should look at when you're looking at property, because that's an added cost. It's not to say that it can't be done. He's got the equipment to make it happen, him and Heidi. And, they can do that, but you got to factor those costs in there because it's labor intensive to make that happen and to get it done. And is there anything new out there that's new on the horizon that y'all are seeing, or is it still just about what we've always done?
It's all basically the same, like I said, gravel systems, chamber. I'm personally not a fan of the gravelless pipe. I'm just not a fan of that because it's got that felt paper around it. I feel that gets clogged up. A lot of repairs that I do have gravelless pipe in it. So,
well, it makes sense because that dirt's going to get around it and it's going to get hard.
Right. Well, that dirt and then just the water inside of it, at some point it's like having a filter on your AC unit. It's going to get clogged up. You're adding water to it and dirt. It's going to make it solid at some point. So.
Do you do French drains?
We can. I don't. Some places, it's just not been. It's not been, on a permit for us to have to do one around. Now we have seen some that are starting to call for curtain drains. If it's the land that's laid kind of funny and all the water comes to it, the environmental is liable to tell us, hey, we got to do a curtain drain around this, which is basically a French drain. It's just stopping the groundwater before we get to the leach field area.
Well, I built a house one time down that was on a really steep lot, which I know we don't have any of those around here up in Gatlinburg, up on the mountains in there.
I got a steep one in Kodak, so
you got that going on. But I put the water line in, and it comes straight from the road, straight shot, about 50 feet. And then it went straight into the basement. And, I had put a French drain around it and done everything, but but my water pipe where I messed up was, and then, yeah, I make mistakes. That's how you learn. When I brought the water pipe in through the wall, in about a month's time, that water would get on that copper pipe. Buddy, that's an expressway. That's a water, what do you call it, slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get that basement to stay dry to save my life. I mean, it would come down through there on that pipe. I mean, they just wasn't, the hydraulic pressure would build up and it would force itself through there. We ended up, and I had a 6-foot porch, it's a 40-foot house. Excuse me, 48-foot wide house. It had a 6-foot porch all the way across the front of it with a deck on it and a roof. The roof was built into the trusses. Now, you talking about aggravating. We had to dig underneath that thing and dig 13 blocks down to the footer to get it rerouted, and ended up having to come in and pour a wall, a solid concrete 8,000 PSI wall to stop that water and to disperse it left and right to get to the French drain so it wouldn't come in through the block. Mm-hmm. My next step was to have to put a system in there to catch the water and get it out. I mean, that's all you can do. Water is tough to deal with. It will go where it wants to go. And as we say on the show so many times, there's two things that's good underwater. One's a fish, the other's a submarine. In your house or your basement ain't neither one.
Exactly right.
It is what we say. But so managing that water is so important to your house. I know when you do excavation and you're laying it out, you got to get that water 10, 12 feet away from that foundation, because if you don't, you're going to have a problem.
Well, that's not even just that. It's 15 foot's a good way. You've got to get it directed. Now we put in a directional drain to basically stop water coming in between two hills from running straight underneath the house. Because
right,
not only are we laying out a house for what we seem to be fit, but we also got to lay it out to where the water's not washing the ground out from underneath the foundation.
Yeah, because that causes all kinds of problems. Then we're getting
Right.
cracks in walls and walls moving and everything else. When you think about a French drain or a curtain drain and you start thinking about, I've seen them put in every which way, and there's a correct way to do that. The idea is to catch that water before it gets to that footer.
Right.
And the idea is to catch that water below the top of the footer, because if you don't, it's just going to come right across it, come in between the block and the top of your footer.
Right.
It's going to come right in underneath your slab or through your concrete wall or your block wall. Now, I mean, if you're doing a poured foundation where you got, an 8,000 PSI or something like that, that helps because it's solid concrete. But, I've poured block. I've done it about every way that you can do it. And the main thing is you got to just get it away. If you get it away, you ain't got no problems.
Right, exactly.
If you don't get it away, you're gonna fight it until you finally get it away. I mean, that's just what it is. So might as well plan on that on the front end. And I don't care what you put on a concrete block wall. You put a concrete block wall and you stucco it and you put a bitumen on there or whatever you put on there. Eventually, it's going to, over time, it's going to get a weak. That water will find a place in it.
Oh yeah,
that's weak. Why you don't get to sleep? You awake over there?
Yep.
Okay. You wide awake?
Yep.
Are you ugly?
No.
He's a good looking boy. I can't take him nowhere. Girls just flock to him everywhere I take him. We go in the store. He'll have 5 or 6 girls around him talking to him. He knows them all.
Chick magnet.
He is. You can't do nothing with him. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
I get it.
Boys just say he's everywhere. He's everywhere. That's what Ray Stevens said.
That's it.
So, but anyway, so we got that going on. All right, we're gonna take that next time out when we come back and let my voice heal. I still ain't got rid of this old crud, but just about.
Yeah.
It just hangs on and on and on. It's awful out there. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Top Septic with Heidi and Josh. And we'd like to talk to you, 865-932-7449 or the Miracle Method message line at 865-255-3911. Hang on, youngins. We'll be right back.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee's new mix, 105.5.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
Attention parents and caregivers of children with type 1 diabetes. Looking for a summer camp where your child can have fun, make friends, and gain confidence in managing their diabetes?
Welcome to the Tennessee Camp for Diabetic Children. At TCDC, kids experience all the joys of summer: swimming, hiking, mountain biking, canoeing, and arts and crafts, while learning essential diabetes management skills in a safe and supportive environment.
With trained medical staff on site 24/7, you can rest easy knowing your child is in expert hands. TCDC isn't just a camp, it's a community. Campers build lasting friendships, gain independence, and leave feeling empowered to take on life with confidence.
Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit www.tcdctype1.org to learn more and register today.
Tennessee Camp for Diabetic Children, where kids with type 1 diabetes shine.
The all-new Mix 105.5 is looking for two great people to join our sales staff. If you are energetic and highly motivated to achieve all the goals you have, we want to talk to you today. Don't let your previous jobs hold you back from finding out how rewarding a position at Mix 105.5 can be. Base plus commission gets you started. Go to Mix1055.com, look for the Work With Us button. Again, that's Mix1055.com and work with us. East Tennessee Radio Group at Mix 105.5 or an equal opportunity employer. Start your new career today. Mix1055.com. Work with us. Do it now.
Get lucky this holiday season at Sexy Stuff. Our popular His and Hers mystery boxes are back, bursting with vibrant toys, games, and premium surprises. Feeling lucky? Come see what treasures await you. Enjoy the fun at Sexy Stuff on Highway 66 in Sevierville. Remember, these mystery boxes are for a limited time only, so hurry in. Sexy Stuff. We've got the stuff.
Looking for a great deal on a new or used vehicle? Head to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport, Tennessee. Just a short drive from Sevierville on West Highway 2570. We've got over 100 pre-owned vehicles with a wide selection of makes and models, all at low prices. Plus, we're clearing out space for 2025 models. So now's the time to save big. Financing available for all credit types. Don't miss out. Come to Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Newport today. Stinnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, West Highway 2570 Newport. Your next ride is waiting.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad one. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Saturday morning to you, music by Epidemic Sound on the program, all copyright free. That's the best thing I ever did was purchase that license for Epidemic Sound, man. I tell you what, we ain't even scratched the surface, have we?
No, and as soon as I get done with basketball season, yeah, I'm going to have a seat.
And going to get in there. I get on it, and 2 hours later, Amy's going, are you going to do anything today, or are you just going to play on this music, you know?
Leave me alone.
They do a great job in the quality of it. And my buddy, Nicky Bernetti, who passed almost a year ago, that you hear with the Rick's House theme song, he's playing the drums on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicky was the drummer for Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods back in the day. He was a Herman's Hermit.
Mm-hmm.
His buddy of ours, Keith, who plays the keyboards on Rick's House, sent me a video. Ringo Starr had a band. He had a club in Atlanta, and he had a band called Star Shower, and Ricky was the drummer, and Keith was the guy, and so I got a picture of a video of Ricky and Ringo Starr playing drums together.
Golly.
I mean, you know, that's just, and then Keith and Jerry Lee Lewis playing the piano together. Just piece of history.
Oh, yeah.
Today's his birthday.
Wow.
His first birthday in heaven. So happy birthday, Brew. And, you know, you hate to see those folks go on, but you're glad, when you know where they are, like, it's all right.
It's all right. That's right.
It's all right. He's a good feller, done a lot of good in the whole world. So that's good stuff. So joining me on the program today, my buddies Josh and Heidi from Top Septic, favorite folks on the program. If you got something clogged,
they're the uncloggers.
You call Josh. He got real long arms, little skinny wrists. He get down in there. It ain't nothing. They'll get a soda can out of an RV tank in a heartbeat. I'm gonna tell you now. Or get that drain field working the way it's supposed to.
Awesome.
How often should you do regular maintenance on? I mean, how often do you do that?
So 3 to 5 years is a good time to keep an eye on what's going on. There's a lot of reasonings. Not only are we just trying to keep from solids getting into the leach field, but it's good to actually see what's going on in your septic tank. Sometimes we're liable to pump one out and see water running in from the house, and that's when we realize that people don't even get complacent of a toilet that fills up periodically throughout the day or the night.
Boy, that'll run the water bill up.
Well, it not only run the water bill up, but it'll oversaturate the leach field. We've seen extra water getting in the leach field or running the leach field.
I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. It's a system like anything else, and it needs to be maintained and for it to work properly. And you start tearing that out and putting something new in there. Now you're getting into some cost because you got to get it out and get the ground back to what do you do when you get one that fails like that? Can it be anything from just you got a clog somewhere or a collapsed pipe somewhere, or you just got a system that's needs to be extended, needs more ground. There's just all kinds of things.
Well, we've seen it all. We've seen it be just a broken crossover, not making it to the next line. Tree roots blocking something up.
Oh, I know what I was going to say now. It just hit me.
Yeah, clog, just anything. It can be a line going to the leach field. Could be broke, clogged, or anything. Like I said, tree roots, oversaturated. We've seen these everybody wants a water filtration system nowadays. Well, the easiest place for the water filtration system to go when they're installing it straight into the piping underneath in the basement. Well, that goes straight to your septic tank. So
that's a lot of water going in there.
When you start adding that extra water to your leach field, you're getting that opportunity to, oversaturate the leach field. We've had one that we've sat back when it took us forever to figure out. We were pumping it every 2 weeks, getting ready to do a big addition to the leach field, and come to find out they had a water treatment system that was regenerating every 2 nights, about 300 gallons.
Oh, that's a lot of water.
Right.
Wow.
It was just bad water from a well, so they were having to clean so much. And, finally we was like, hey, look, take that off of the system. And we've not pumped that. We pump that system yearly. It's a vacation rental.
Yeah.
So
you're better off to take it off and put it somewhere else and let it have its own little.
It's clean water, so it can actually be put back out on the ground. It's not a gray, dirty water. It's
so
actually
you ain't
just
got to put it in there,
right?
Hey, Kim just sent us a text message on the Miracle Method message line. She said, should anything be added to the septic tank for regular maintenance? Thank you, Kim, for that.
Yeah, you don't have to. So the systems today, compared to the old systems, everybody used to talk about the fact that we used to, how did an old system work longer and better than it does today? Well, we're adding all these additives into it, like antibacterial soaps, using so much more. So it's not that we recommend adding stuff to the septic tank, because our body should make the bacteria for it to break down. So, if you're not using a lot of bleach, a lot of antibacterials, you don't really need to add nothing. But if you are, there's supplements, Red X, bread yeast, buttermilk, something with a live culture to add back to it to help it out.
It ain't going to hurt.
It's not going to hurt.
And that's the thing. When I was telling folks the other day, and Kim, this is in response to your question too. Wake up, light. You're on TV. Yeah, smile pretty for him. He's just sitting there. He thinks behind them glasses I can't see him, but everybody on Facebook can see him. He's nodding off on me. Don't nod off on Uncle Rick.
He's behind my monitor. I can't see him. I can't see him.
Yeah, he's doing this. Like at church, sometimes when you worked all night.
Yeah.
I had a fella that before many years ago, before I got lucky and met y'all, who was the guy that we utilized for our drain fields.
Mm-hmm.
His forearms looked like Popeye.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't a big feller, but his forearms was that big around. I ain't kidding you. And I asked him one day, I said, how come? He said, well, you lift. He said, I've been lifting septic tank lids for 40 years. You lift septic tank lids every day for 40 years, you'll have forearms like this too. Boy, I'd hate for him to get mad at you and tongue you right in the nose. He'd break every bone in your head.
Or put you in a headlock.
Put you in a headlock. I mean, But I asked him one time, I said, what do you, in all the septic tanks that you've seen over the years, and we're talking about 35 years ago stuff. I mean, this is when I first started building. And he said, the cleanest septic tank I ever seen. He said, when we pulled the top off of it and drained it, he said, it looked like we'd already washed the sides down. He said, the cleanest septic tank I ever seen. He said, I asked the customer, I said, what are you doing? And the old man said, I flush one loaf of stale bread. He said, I go to the, where you can get it day old bread, and stuff, a month. He said, every few days, he said, I throw 2 or 3 pieces in there and just flush it. And he said, that yeast, and it's yeast is what it is. It feeds that bacteria. And, sometimes the old ways is, and that's what Josh is saying, if it's got live cultures in it, buttermilk, yeast, whatever, that's going to help. Of course, back then, we didn't put all the stuff in there. We didn't have, what we have now that we put in there. I mean, you just didn't have it. I mean, you just washing clothes and doing stuff, but it ain't like our house, used to be, and like your all's house is with teenagers, and, taking 42 showers a day, and you're washing, the washing machine never stops because, you're washing ball uniforms and everything else. And then you're using, as Josh said, all this ultra, chemical stuff in there. It's a different ball game, but you still got to be, aware of it. But anything, I think anything that you can put in there natural is good. And then those products that you mentioned, there used to be a product, and I can't find it anymore. And Richard Edwards, who was just on our Edwards Plumbing Service, dear friend of our program, he used to come to we had a drain field that we had trouble with. And it was a big old drain field. It's 400 and something feet. I mean, because the ground was iffy on getting it in anyway. And but he used to put this stuff called Miracle, and you put it in once a year, and it come in a gallon tub, and you could only buy it at a plumbing supply. And he got it at Ferguson's or Gray Hodges, one of them,
Right.
And man, I'm telling you what, I don't know what was in that, but whatever it was, it ate concrete. I'm telling you, it was aggressive. But you put that in once a year, and they guarantee it, to keep it clean. But, like I said, anything that you can do like that, I think is good. You're not going, especially if it's natural. if it's something that's going in there anyway, it's going to help. People ask me all the time about clogs, in your plumbing lines. I'm not a fan of some of those kinds of things. What I'm a fan of is calling your plumber and let him deal with that. Now, when we were in Florida, and this is what I was thinking about when I was telling you about that house I built 3 times. When I built that house, I sold that house to some people from New York. And it's the last house I built up here before we moved to Florida. Well, we was back home. It was about 2 miles from where I grew up. We was back home out just riding around one day, and I told Amy, I said, let's just drive by the old house and see what it looks like, what they've done. You don't see what people did. It's different, from what you did. And so I went and drove past that house, and there was a maple tree planted right dead square in the middle of that drain field, and you could see the lines, just clear as day. And I thought, oh, you did not plant a tree. I'm talking about dead square right in the middle of it. I mean, right there. And so I guess it was probably, we was going on, traveling all across the country. We come back and we cut through there one day, and I looked over and that little maple tree was gone. Because a root will go to that water.
Well, it's like anything, we like our sweet candy, so
yeah,
imagine what kind of tree's going to like those kind of nutrients.
You just looking for a nutty buddy, ain't you?
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I mean, honestly, it's just a matter of, once it finds that water, it's going to start sending everything it can to block that water. So if it can collect that water, that's what it wants to do.
Goodness. We had the house we lived in Florida. We lived across the street from the beach, and it had a little drain field with it, and it was all the pipes was concrete drains. And man, it just over the years, I mean, the house was built in the 50s, and over the years, them roots, man, they got in there and ended up just having to tear the whole thing out, and because it just, I mean, that was it. It was just, of course, it made a mess in the backyard because it's just going into sand, but still yet we ended up having to take it out and put a whole new system in because the roots from the trees and the neighbor's tree. I mean, a root will go 20, 30, 40. I mean, it'll go as far as it needs to get to that water, and it'll bust a pipe.
Well, not only just pipes, it'll make it through the lids. We've seen them be just as thin as a hair through the lid, then it gets inside of the septic tank, and it be inches around.
No,
and the only thing going through just the crack of the concrete lid where it just lays in there, just be thin as almost, I don't know, thinner than a pencil.
No joke.
Small going in there
and get in there, and then
once it gets in there, it just expands, becomes a big old root that's trying to suck all the water it can.
Oh, no joke! Ain't that something?
Like a big mat.
That's crazy! Wow. So, folks, you got to be careful. And we pulled up on a house down in West Knoxville this past week, and had to stop about something I was looking at, and I seen the 4-inch clean out, and there's another tree planted right there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you didn't plant a tree right there. Surely you didn't plant a tree right there. But but we don't think about those kinds of things. I mean, if you're not a person that's construction minded, why would you? I mean, you wouldn't. You think, oh, well, that's a closed system. It ain't gonna. But it will. It like Josh and Heidi was saying. Can you imagine that? Something like just tiny. Mm-hmm. And then when it gets in there, swells open, and and feeds it. Now, that's craziness right there.
Well, now you got me thinking. I've got a tree. I know where my septic tank is, ballpark wise. I know in the area where it is. Down from it, I did plant a tree a long time ago, and that tree's growing pretty well.
I bet it is.
I'm just wondering, maybe I don't know if it's there, and I think it's below it, but I don't know for sure. But like you were talking earlier about pumping your septic tank every 3 to 5 years, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I hope I'm not, but I've been in my house since 1999, and I've not pumped it once.
Well, we hear this often. The problem is not a matter of waiting so long to pump it, but what happens is there's 3 layers in a septic tank.
Mm-hmm.
Your very bottom layer, we call that the sludge layer. That's where the stuff kind of breaks down, it's too heavy, and it falls to the bottom. Then there's a middle layer, that's called the water level.
Mm-hmm.
And then right on top of that, then on top of that, we call that the scum layer. That's the stuff that's coming in, floating, breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you start waiting 20 years, what happens is that bottom level starts getting thicker, and that's how it ends up into your leach field.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So that's the reason why, we recommend 3 to 5 years to keep that bottom from happening.
I may have to, have that.
Plus, you get all that grease on the top.
Well, I mean, there's grease. There's we've opened some of them up. It looked like a dabbling pigskin laying on top of the septic tank, and it's just the fats and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Don't get me in pork rinds, will you? I was craving them. I was getting some Hogs Heaven pork rinds. That's another sponsor of the program we ain't talked about in a long time. The Brummett family down in Georgia are the proprietors of Hogs Heaven pork rinds. Now I'm gonna tell you something. They got about 10 flavors. And I'm gonna tell you what. Now, if you like pork rinds, you find them. Yeah, they'll be. You just look them up online. Hogs Heaven.
And Heidi wonders why we've always got to talk about some sort of poop at the dinner table.
Guess what I say today, baby?
Every time.
Oh my gosh! You ain't gonna
believe Salisbury steak.
You ain't gonna believe what was in that septic tank today.
There's always corn. Always. Never is there not corn.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna Lord have mercy. I had a plumber one time. Oh, this is awful, but we're gonna go there.
Okay.
I had a plumber one time, and he was just as best good old plumber as I did. But if he seen corn, he was out. he was out, and I'll never forget that. This is terrible. It's just terrible.
Oh, it's awful.
I was building a house out in Powell, and you know how they tape off, the vents and all your drains, and then they put them gauges on there, and they got to put pressure on it. Well, he didn't know that. I don't know who it was. If it was, you got about 4 or 5 choices. It could be the plumbers, it could be the electricians, it could be the heat and air people, it could be the sheetrock guys, it could be or gals, it could be whoever. Well, they didn't want to go outside to the porta potty, so what they did is they just pee in down that drain pipe in one of the bathrooms. Well, he didn't know that. Well, they'd been doing that for 3 months. And so he put the pressure gauges on there and come out and got the pressure test, and I went by there.
Uncle was a taste.
Yeah, I come by there and just to check, make sure we'd passed the test, which I knew we would because he's great. Him and his son was plumbers. He come out from under that crawl space, and he was saying things that I'd never had even heard. He was making words up, I'm telling you, and he was covered. I mean, just drenched. I said, Ray, what in the world? And that electrician's been paying in that. And when he pulled it off, every bit of that in that 3-story house it just drenched him. So folks, don't do that. Don't do it. But yeah, it's he was out. He said, I'm going to the house. I said, I don't blame you, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's when you do that for a living, I guess them conversations get interesting.
For some, it don't matter. It ends up at the dinner table. If we don't bring it up, our 10-year-old brings up something. So there's no telling.
What'd you say today, Daddy?
Right, there's something.
Oh my goodness. Great entertainment.
Oh, it's the truth.
Table. That's
it's truth in what's going on.
Yeah.
We're gonna take that bottom of the hour time out. When we come back, we're gonna jump back on the phones and y'all give us a holler. I know people don't call like they used to, but that's all right. Kim, thank you. Send us another message at the Miracle Method message line 865-365. 865-255. What? I can't see.
You want my glasses?
I need
Apparently you can't see with yours.
865-255-3911 on the Miracle Message line. Also, you can call us 865-932-7449. Heidi and Josh in from Top Septic. Awesome folks. I promise you, they'll treat you right, take care of you, help you make sure you got that system running the way that it should. We're going to talk more about that coming back. Wyatt, tell them.
We'll be right back, folks.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural,
You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811, brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show. Let me tell you, I know a little something about mobility issues. I know a little something about taking care of mom and dad and grandparents and things you do when you're supposed to. That's why I trust Chris and his team at Miracle Method. They've got a safety package. A safety package that converts that tub in your house. But the main thing is it's going to give them an easy step in. It's going to give them grab bars that are added right. It's going to give them the flexibility to have that independence and you the knowledge of knowing that you've taken care of mom and dad. Miracle Method. Find them online today. Miracle Method. 865-693-5522. For safety is a priority.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock, too. Sign up today and get 1 month free, plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
Right now at Napa Auto Parts in Sevierville, save up to 50% on Chevron Techron fuel system cleaners, starting at $549 each. Save up to 34% on select Armor All products. Super Clean cleaner and degreaser starts at $879 each. Save up to 21% on select car care accessories. Toolbox shop towels starting at $279 each. And a pair of Evercraft utility gloves just $9.99 at Napa Auto Parts on the Parkway in Sevierville.
Get ready to feel lucky at Sexy Stuff. Spring is back, and so are the must-have mystery boxes with exciting, colorful toys and surprises. Sexy Stuff on Highway 66 in Sevierville. Join the fun and get lucky. Sexy Stuff. We've got the stuff.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561. PreferredModularHomes.com. Whether you want to change some decor items or come in with a floor plan sketched out on a napkin, we're confident we can help you create the home of your dreams. PreferredModularHomes.com. 865-512-9251. 865-512-9251. 7140 Clinton Highway. Come see us today. Talk to Ben. Talk to Scott. Get that modular built for a lifetime. PreferredModularHomes.com.
Waking up between you and mama every Saturday morning. Lord, it must be a big old bed. You're listening to Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. 105.5 The Mix. Heidi and Josh joined me from Top Septic this morning, and we've had messages to the message line, the Miracle Method message line. You can send us a text, 865-255-3911, or you can call us. We promise we'll be nice. You can use a fake name. We don't care. 865-932-7449 if you've got a question about your septic tank or about, your drain field, or maybe you're building a new house, looking for somebody to put that drain field in. Top Septic can make it happen, I promise you. Great friends of this program, and they just do a fantastic job, veteran-owned company, and run the way it's supposed to be run and done the way it's supposed to be done. And if you've got an RV and you've dropped a can in your black tank,
and he's speaking from experience.
Speaking from experience, you can make that happen too. Our little thing that you hear waking up between you and Mama, Lord, it must be a big old baby. The hind story behind that is when I was at another radio station, I had a lady call one Saturday morning, and we went on at 6 to 10, and she said, "Rick, I just feel like you're just right here in the bed between me and my husband." And I said, I didn't know what to say, which is unusual for me. I said, "Is that right?" She said, "Yeah." She said, our alarm clock set to you, and said, "It just sounds like you're just right here with us." I said, "Well, okay, I appreciate it. What are you cooking for breakfast?" And but anyway, long story short, my buddy BC Brian Christensen, who is on out in San Francisco, he was my neighbor in Florida when I moved to Florida, and he was in Florida. He had his whole studio in his garage. When you opened his garage door, it looked like this radio station. And his partner, that was his radio partner, was in San Francisco, and they did the morning show out there. And Brian does that commercial for us, and he smokes about 6 packs of Camels a day with no filter, and he's got that radio voice. And I told him that, and he said, "Let me make you something." So he made that for us, and that's where it comes from. And it's we have a little fun with that along the way. Now, if you're trying to get a hold of Top Septic, there's some ways that you can do that. You can call them. That's the best way to do is call, ain't it?
That's the best way.
All right. And what's that number, Heidi?
It's 865-599-1690.
That's right. That's the best thing to do. And you can go to the website, too.
Yeah. TopSepticService.net.
TopSepticService.net. You can do that, or you can call me, email me. I'll get y'all to them. You'll see them on our Facebook page, and you'll see them streaming as well on the banner that's going across right now. It's got it on there for you just as well. When all that grease and stuff builds up on the top of that septic tank, does that affect the tank? Does it affect the performance of it, Josh?
Not real sure that it affects it, but it does create clogs coming into it.
As it breaks loose.
Well, that stuff will actually, the grease just gets solid. When it comes in, hits that inlet tee or that concrete baffle tee, it just starts restricting the hole. We see a lot of times that the garbage disposal will put the grease to the septic tank.
Be careful with them garbage disposal, especially if it's celery and beans and stuff that's got strings on it. Don't do it.
Oh, really? It's even worse that way, huh?
Oh, yeah. If it's got strings on it, don't. They say don't do it. That's the way it is. We've got used to not having a garbage disposal. We just throw it in the garden, but in the compost pile.
Well, any of that meat that's got that fat and that oils and grease, it gets into that, once it runs through it, it's separating those greases, and it hits that septic tank water, and it'll just start getting solid and creating a clog every time. You can about open a tank and tell who's got a garbage disposal and who don't.
Oh, I bet.
Because, we's always taught to just pour grease off, but some people think it's all right to go straight down into the sink.
No, that's not. That ain't no good. And I know you run hot water behind it, but that ain't helping you none.
Well, the hot water behind it's just to get it through your pipes. It's going to hit that cold water in that septic tank and get hard again.
Right. I've seen that. I've seen them. It'll be 8-10 inches deep. Mm-hmm. I know y'all seen
that's
plenty
not
of
just
that.
Grease. That's that scum layer that we talk about floating.
Is that from your soaps and stuff too?
No, that's the breakdown period. That's your toilet papers and everything else. it all collects to the top and floats, and that's where it's supposed to be breaking down at.
So if you're using that extra thick Charmin or whatever type of brand it is, that's a longer breakdown period.
Well, it's a longer breakdown period, and I think Charmin, they say, has got some kind of oil in it to make it soft for you, So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to be careful of what you think about, I mean, a lot of folks, if you've done any camping, like we've done, we got a trash can for such things as that because we just think. And now I know they say they got that rapid dissolving stuff, but that ain't working for Ricky.
It dissolves too rapidly.
Yeah, and so, but anytime you can keep something, and we're not picking on any particular company, but anytime you can keep something that has a breakdown period out of your drain field septic tank system, you're ahead of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the wet wipes are.
Oh man, do y'all see a lot of them?
We do, and we don't tell people not to use the wet wipes. We tell them to throw them away.
Right.
And even the ones, there's some out there that say that they're biodegradable. But
that's a lie.
Take that stack.
Flushable.
Well, flushable just means it'll go through the pipe and won't cause a problem. That's all that means.
That's awesome.
But take a pack of wet wipes out there, even though they say they're biodegradable, and set them out there in the sun and see how long it takes them to do it in a thickness. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you're flushing even biodegradable wipes into your commode and into your thing, it just gets in there and starts making some sort of layer.
Yeah.
So if it's not touching the water, it's not touching the bacteria that's breaking it down. So you're just making a big floating mat on top of your septic tank.
And that'll clog something.
Well, it will. I mean, so it's a septic tank works.
And heaven forbid that gets across into the drain field part.
We've seen that. We've seen what we call trash. Could be feminine products or just wet wipes or anything. If they wait so long for it to get pumped, that stuff, them 2 layers or 3 layers get to where they're not supposed to be. It flushes, it ends up in that water layer, and it just floats its way all the way to the outlet tee. It can end up in your leach field. We've done repairs to where we've dug up.
Yeah, and it's going nowhere. It's there.
Well, and we'd find panty liners and just oddball things, that are stuck in the line that'll stop that up.
Wow.
Yep.
And then we all got to blame it on the kids for flushing kids' toys.
Yeah, flushing the kids' toys.
Flushing the kids' toys. But yeah, if you can avoid putting anything other than what you have to into your septic system, you're better off. I mean, it's just part of it. I want to talk a little bit about the excavation part of what you do because I love to run machinery. It's one of the things I love to do. Now, I ain't good at it like you are.
I wouldn't say I'm good at it. I just get by.
Yeah, he's outstanding
He's
at
so
it.
modest.
He can scratch your nose with it. I'm not even bust a skin. I'm talking about pick a fly off a net.
That's awesome.
Being able to I'll look at a lot. We went and looked at a lot last week, and Amy said, "Let's go look at this lot." And I said, "Yeah, that's in one of the areas we were thinking about." So I said, "We run over and looked at it." And I looked at it, and the first thing I said was, "We're going to have to get Josh over here." Because the way that it's up on a hill, and it's steep, but the lot's thick. And, you're either going to have a bank at the back or a bank at the front if you're going to have any kind of flat yard whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is. And, I told her, I said, things went through my mind about how it could be utilized in order, because when I think about, as I'm 56, and as I think about, the mobility issues that I've developed over the last few years, flat is important to me. Being able to get out of the car, not being on the hill, and being able to get around the house and do those kinds of things. That's something that what you can do with that machine. What a lot of people can't see the potential. I look at it and I can kindly see because I've done a lot of it.
Right.
But I don't see it like you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what you can do with that machine and what the alternatives are. And if you're looking at a lot that's steep or that's rocky, or that has those kinds of things, you know, that's something that you can come out and look at for them and say, you know, here's what can be done.
Right. Yeah, there's tricks to looking at, you know, the way the trees are on a piece of property. You know, if you look around and you see a lot of cedar trees, there's a good chance that's going to be a rocky land. That's not going to be
that's
real
what
good.
grows there, ain't it?
Well, it's all that can grow there. You know, there's not enough room for any of these other roots to do anything
Now,
else.
see, who would think of that except
Right.
somebody that digs in the dirt every day?
Right.
You know, I mean, those things are important. You know, and then you think about, well, it's on sewer. Well, that's great, but you got to get the pipe to it.
Right.
You know?
And you know,
And
like
you got to
you
get a
said,
foundation in there too.
well, the thoughts to everything is, you know, I'm not afraid of making money, but I don't want to make nonsense money. You know what I mean? I can
Right.
tell you all day long, you know, we can make grass grow, we can make a system work, but I don't want to take your money no more than just taking to be taken. You know what I mean? I'd rather you be happy at the end of it.
Exactly.
You know, everybody's happy. We make a little money and y'all save a little money. So,
Everybody wins.
Yep.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's why we love Top Septic and Josh and Heidi, because that's how they do business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you get with the veteran-owned company and good folks. I mean, that's the thing, and that's why I don't have any hesitation about talking about them all day long, every day, every time I can, because I know that when they come out there, they're going to look at it and go, well, here's what we can do. You know, and they're going to tell you the truth. And that's a rarity. We had a situation this 2 weeks ago, and I talked a little bit about this. And matter of fact, we've got y'all are in today from Top Septic. Then next week we've got Preferred Modular Homes Customs coming in to talk about, you know, what they do with the custom part of that business. We're excited about that. Then CMG, our buddies from CMG are coming in that do a fantastic job, did a great job here at the radio station for us.
They sure did.
And know their business. And then Anita from Cozy Mountain Cabins, that's Cozy Mountain Cabins with a Z, is coming in at the end of the month on the 29th to talk about, you know, the 18 or 20 cabins that she's got. She's got everything from a little tiny house that's on the creek to you can go that big old monster up on Cobbly Knob that scares me to death every time I go up there. She said, now listen, she said, when you go up there, she said, you need to stop down there at Food City and get everything you need for that week and another week in case you get snowed in, because you will not come off the top of that hill. I thought, I come off the top of that hill. I got 4-wheel drive on you. No. I got up there when I was sweating. When I got to the top, I said, we're staying right here until we leave and go back to Gibbs or Corton at that time, because I ain't coming back down this hill.
Right. Well, just think, you know, when we first started this, we wasn't going up there. We wasn't pumping septic tanks up there. We didn't want no part of it. Of course, we started with an old 88 Ford F-750, 2-speed rear end.
Here coming a mile away.
Well, I mean, it was a chore to drive by itself, and let alone we was like, oh, no, we ain't going to be pumping in mountains now. We do about 70% of our work, if not more, up there. And,
right.
You know, people are calling us, hey, will you come up here? And we were like, yeah, we've got little trucks. We'll send it. You know, the only thing we don't have is a 4-wheel drive. But,
We haven't really had a need for one yet.
No, but if we hit that part to where we tell you that it ain't no good and we can't do it, you're in pretty bad shape.
You're in pretty bad shape. If you just can't get it done, then there's a problem. Yeah, it's just that, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, like I said, the Christmas tree in that it's called the wind chimer, and the Christmas tree's like 20 foot in that thing. I mean, its house is insane.
Right.
I mean, I didn't realize people live like it. I mean, you know, it's they've got a movie theater in it, and I mean, it's something else. The view, it's up in Cobbly Knob, up on on the very top up there, and ain't no side rails or nothing. It just that driveway just snakes up through there, and Lord have mercy, I ain't going up there no more. But anyway,
well, you ought to ride up there with me with a truck and machine.
No, I ain't. Yeah, well, now I take that back. I'd go with you.
Right.
Now I would. I'd ride up there with you.
We change the brakes on that truck. I think I'm doing it every 30 days. I'm having to put brakes on my truck just from running around.
Running around up there in the mountains.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? We got caught out there on top of a mountain out in Colorado. Let's see, where was we? We went through Phoenix, Arizona, because I wanted to stand on the corner. And
such a fine sight to see.
Yeah, it was. Had to park ways away because, you know, we're 65 foot long with the truck and the trailer.
Girl, my Lord, and I'm
Yeah, so I had to go to the gas station down the way and ask him if I could park there so I could go back there and stand on the corner. But they had a detour on the road, and we got up on top of that mountain, and I didn't realize, and my trailer brakes went out on that camper. And we come from 9,000 feet, 9,000, to back down to the ground in 4-wheel drive low, 20 feet, 30 feet at a time, stop, let everything cool off. 20, 30 more feet time. Took me 5 hours come off that mountain. When I got to the bottom, I said, Lord, if you'll just get us to the bottom, I promise you I'll do whatever it takes to get the brakes. And thank goodness we found an old boy that fixed them for us and didn't hold us up. I mean, he had us. He could have charged us anything. It didn't matter, you know. And matter of fact, he said, where you at? And I said, I'm down here at Walmart, nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. He said, I'll be down there in a minute. So he come down there and pulled. He said, yeah, he showed me you got to have brakes. And he said, you think you can make it 2 miles up the road? I said, I come off that mountain. I can make it 2 miles up the road. So he pulled in the shop, and it was getting late. And he said, I need to go get the parts. And I paid him, you know, for parts. And he come back. He said, be all right. We'll get this done tomorrow. I said, yeah. I said, I need to go back to Walmart. He said, no. He said, I'll just go ahead and run you water and power out of the shop. He was on a dead end road, and he lived across the street. Said, you just stay right here tonight. Wow. And got to talking to him, and he had a ministry. They had lost a child to drug overdose, and he had a ministry out there, and that's what he did. He was a mobile camper guy. And he fixed all that stuff. And I tell you how his attention to detail was, and I've told this story. We got done, and when he pulled that on the driver's side, on the passenger side next to the door, he pulled that front tire off, and it's a brand new tire. And he pulled it off, and on the inside of it was a bulge on the sidewall big as my fist. Whew. And he said, I want you to look at it. Now, if that had blowed out on us coming down, the good Lord had his hand on us. That's all you can say about it. Yep. If it had blowed out, we'd have been in a world of mess. He said, I got a tar. And he said, you got a spare? I said, no, I've already used it. Because you know how it is when you're traveling, you're replacing tires, and, you know, you can't keep enough because you're hitting stuff. And he said, I've got a tire, and he said, I've got a rim that'll fit that. And I said, and he told me what he wanted for it. I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll pay you for it. So he put it on. Well, it was a wagon. I got wagon wheel. You moved it for me. And they're all black, and this one was white. I mean, it's white as white can be, old white wagon wheel. We was getting ready to leave. He said, hold on, Rick, just a minute. I said, okay. He went in the shop and come back out with a rag and a can of black spray paint, and he wiped her down and sprayed her black. He said, now you can go.
Right on.
He wasn't going to put us on the road with three black rims and a white one. And that rim's still on there today.
Oh, wow.
It is. So, but that's the kind of service that you get. And of course, you know, y'all got good equipment, and that makes the job, you know, having my mama thought that a butter knife was two things. She thought it was a flathead screwdriver, and she also thought it was a security device that if she put it behind the casing of the door, that's going to keep somebody from pushing that door open at our house. How do you know? She said, yeah, she knows. But you got to have the right tools for the job.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. What all, I'll spit out in a minute. What all excavation wise do y'all do, y'all?
So, I mean, we're doing.
What do you like to do?
Well, I mean, we're doing land clearing footers, can do some concrete pouring, just really, we're getting our hands in the doors, and honestly, with the septics, you know, we're backed up, and I mean, it's, you know, it sounds bad, but this time of year, the rain just don't let us. Backed up
in the septic business, you know.
Right. Well, you know, it's the rain's not helping us. You know, we can't dig in the rain, so that slowed us down. But yeah, as far as excavation, you know, land clearing, digging footers, just about anything. If you need a machine to do it, you know, give us a call. You know, we'll tell you we can't if we can or can't do it. And, you know, we're, like I said, we're not afraid to save you money. You know, if I've got a buddy of mine that's got a bulldozer and he'd be better at cutting a longer driveway than I will, I'm going to give you his phone number because I want to save you money, not just spend hours taking your money.
That makes money down the line, too, because people appreciate it.
It does.
You know, I mean, I do. Y'all do. Skip does. White don't. He don't care. He's got money coming out his ears because he works all the time. Right, White?
Not right
You
now. He's
sound
got some
asleep.
headphones on.
You wide awake?
Yep.
Nah, I was just checking. But it does. I mean, people appreciate that. Now, when you're laying the house out and laying, do you lay the footers out and do it all, or do you let them do it and then you come dig them, or how do y'all do that?
Well, I mean, we can lay them out. I would typically, if I was building a house, I'd go ahead and spend the extra money and have one of the engineer companies come out here and do it. It's just best to do that. That way, they've seen your plans. We can dig them, pour them, anything after that point. But just a matter of that way, it's on somebody else's.
Right.
Once again,
and
somebody
a lot
goes
of
to school
times,
to pay attention to
just because it's on that plan don't mean it works.
Right. Exactly.
And I can't tell you the times when I was building that we'd run across something, and two of my favorite lead carpenters had middle school educations, but when it come to construction and engineering and geometry, they had advanced degrees.
Right.
And they just look at it, and all the time I tell this story too. I have one. He'd say, "Now, Rick," he used a folding ruler, like an old folding.
Right.
Ruler. He'd have that in his back pocket, and he'd say, he'd look at the plans of what we was going to build. He said, "That staircase ain't going to work." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to work." He said, "You ain't got enough room for it." He said, "It won't work to meet code."
Right.
I said, "Well, what are we going to do?" He'd go over and lay it out, and he'd say, "We can do this or we can do this."
Right.
So just because it looks good on paper don't mean all the time that it works. Not saying nothing about architects or draftsmen or that kinds of things, but sometimes you can get so exact that you ain't got no fudge factor in there.
Right.
And you got to have that building or remodeling. And if this is one thing I can tell folks that listen to us on the program, and just to be honest, there is no house that's ever been built that's perfect. Not one. There ain't no remodeling job ever been done.
The Lord's
that's
house
perfect.
is built perfect.
The Lord's house is perfect now. That's right. I'll go with that. But I'm talking about man-made here on earth. There's too many factors involved, and you have to be able to make those adjustments,
right,
and make those things happen. And so, a lot of times you can save yourself some money by spending a little money and letting that engineer come out there and lay that thing out where it's right.
Well, it's like anything else. If they lay that out every day, they know what they're looking for. Some people, these math degrees, everybody says we don't need all that stuff in school sometimes, but math's a pretty big one. It takes me and three others and two different tape measures to square something up sometimes. I know how to square it, but some of the boys can do it. They can just figure the math up and do it by themselves.
Right. Exactly right. I agree. Steampunk Johnny listening to us this morning in Bakersfield, California, with that delicious coffee out there. John, good to see you this morning, my brother.
On the streets of Bakersfield.
You
don't like me.
Go ahead. Sing it, Skip. Go ahead.
Steampunk Johnny. Love you, brother.
I'm telling you, you love us some Steampunk Johnny. He's got that rocket fuel and got that new breakfast blend, and he got that medium roast, but I like that dark roast. He puts that on you. I just run to the station if I drink about 3 cups of that.
Well, I'd like to have that this morning.
Now, I'm telling you, Steampunk Johnny, coffee on the program. We appreciate that, especially if you got it when you talk about Gatlinburg and Sevierville County and up in there. We got a lot of step downs. We got a lot of bulkheads. We got a lot. And keeping all that, especially when we got these houses, it's cut all to pieces, 15, 20 corners in them, cut every which way. You got to get that right, y'all. Because if you don't get that right, you're going to fight it through the whole house and you're going to see it at the end. Right. You got to hide it somewhere. There's nowhere, or fix it. There's just these two things. I did that one time where I had a block guy mess up on me. And after that, I never had that happen. I never did that no more. If it wasn't right, we tore it out and we started over.
Well, it's just easier to pay. I mean, even with these new houses that are on these slabs, there's a footer underneath there.
Yeah.
That has to be a load-bearing footer sometimes.
Exactly right.
I can tell you what it is. I can read blueprints and I can lay a set out, but what can be the cost savings going to be, your house cracking somewhere else down the road,
right,
and that thing being exactly.
And if you want to talk expense, let's start talking about what it costs to deal with that. That ain't cheap, and I don't care if it's mud jacking or slab jacking or whichever system that you choose to use. You've got to get deep in that billfold when you start on that.
And understanding the excavation side along with the septic side together. We've seen some where, if you'd go ahead and take that pump system, you can put your house any way you want to.
Right.
We've had some that
makes sense.
We've had some that they want a house one way, and then they don't want to deal with a pump system. But here we are. We've got to cut, 7 or 8 feet worth of earth away just to be able to put the house where you want the house.
Right.
And it just mixes things up. Sometimes it's best to understand, how the system's going to work and not just check the block. If I can lay out a foundation along with, this is your ideal, you're setting your house up along with your septic tank,
then you can look at it and end up with the most cost effective way to do it, but also get what you want. That's the other side of it, is getting what you want by factoring in, the whole package.
Yep.
That makes total sense to me.
There's, and not only that, the well comes into play. What kind of flat ground, where the well's going to be at, where the house is going to be at, and stuff like that.
Y'all have somebody you like for wells, or
we do. We recommend Patriot Well Drilling. They're out of Jefferson or out of Dandridge here. They're
okay.
Good boys. Go to church with them. They did my personal well, so.
Well, that says a lot right there.
Sure does.
I imagine that wells are pretty deep up in this part of the world.
Well, I think we hit water right there off Strawberry Plains exit around 220 feet.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Now, what was that man saying that we met with up there on Hatcher Mountain?
I think he was looking at that one to be around 1,200 feet, maybe.
Oh, howdy, come on.
Right.
Man, you got to have a machine with a whole lot of casing to go.
Right. Well, them buddies of mine, like I said, they're from Washington. They just
they know all about it then.
Well, they do. They were telling me, I was the first well, they drilled here in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then the other day they told me they finally hit their first cave. So said they were about 150 feet down. So they're getting ready to pound 150 feet of casing straight down into the ground to get past that caves.
Wow. Well, that's something we don't even think about because, they're everywhere.
Right. Exactly.
Especially in this part of the world. Mm-hmm. You got them all over the place. I was a kid and we did a lot of hunting. There's caves everywhere, and caves people don't even know about with Civil War history in them and where they stocked, and the soldiers, kept ammunition and camped and hung out. And there's a lot. We got so much history here. That's just part of it. It's absolutely positively part of it. So, is there anything as far as the excavation or that kind of stuff that you don't like to do?
Well, with our excavation company only being, this is our second year going, really, I'm just.
You still feeling it out on what you want to do?
Well, I ain't afraid to try anything.
He ain't scared is what he's just saying. Come on.
He ain't scared nothing there now.
That's S-K-E-E-R-D.
He's a big old feller.
I was just like moving your camper that day. You know what I mean? It was.
I told Amy, she said, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to call Josh and Heidi. That's what we're going to do.
Well, that's the first time we've ever backed one down the hill backwards, so.
He picked that thing up and hooked to it and just put it down there like new money and put it on that 350 and said, where we going? Come on.
Right. It's just a matter of taking your time, so we ain't afraid to try something.
And you got the stuff to do it.
Right.
And the common sense.
Yeah.
What did you do in the service?
I was on the M1A1 main battle tank is what I was on.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Skylar, our boys just finished up his service, and he did 6 years and doing his thing now in the Black Hawk. And I asked him, I said, are you gonna stay in aviation? And of course he's got all them certifications, for jet engines and all that stuff. But he said, no, Dad. He said, I'm gonna. He's working on diesels. Of course, the helicopter's diesel engine.
Yeah.
And he said, that's a lot of pressure when you're working on something that if it has a problem, you've got 2 minutes to fix it or people die.
Right.
And he said, I about had all that. that I want, but he did that. So, that's good stuff. Appreciate our military. We've got a lot of our sponsors that have served. I didn't have the privilege of serving, but I would have. But it's so many of our sponsors did and have, like Anita. That's what I like about going to Cozy Mountain Cabins. You could eat off a toilet in her cabin. I'm gonna tell you something. They ain't listen. When
you
Mom
gonna eat the corn?
No. If it don't look too bad, I might run it back too.
No. No, sir.
That's why I love you.
Man.
It don't get no better than that. I'm glad I got that recorded. We're going to make a commercial out of that. Remember, folks, call Top Septic. You want to eat the corn?
As much grease is in there, it's got some buttery too.
Oh, my mercy.
Oh,
that's
God.
Hilarious. That's what we do. We have a little fun on the program.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's so funny. That's good stuff.
He was quick with that, too.
I'm telling you, he's been waiting. He's just waiting for the right opportunity. Look, you brother.
Something.
It's always something. But, yeah, it's, there's so much in the building process. And we try real hard, and we've been so fortunate to have really good sponsors. That folks like Josh and Heidi, and like I was talking about Anita, when you go to her house, you know how it is, Heidi. I mean, you go somewhere to stay, Mama's going to go in there and check everything. She's going to pull them covers back, look at them sheets. She's going to check that bathroom. She's going to look at the dishes, see what's clean. She's going to make a round. And depending on what that round is, depending on what she brought with her, you might be going to the dollar store.
Right.
To get some foamy bubble and some other things if it ain't in the closet. When you go to Cozy Mountain Cabins, you ain't got to worry about that because it's done been took care of.
Good.
And that's how she rolls. Because it's I guarantee you're gonna bounce a quarter off that sheet on the bed because that's what she did. I mean, that was her deal. She's military. And so I tell her that she'll go, oh, and but she's a good one. So, we've got great sponsors, folks, and we hope that you'll spend time, investigating, talking to them. They're here to help you. They'll answer your questions. And if you've got a question that is, I tell you, and this is true with every radio show that I know now, and all the people that I've been doing business with for all these years and doing radio over their 25th year, it's all the same. Unless it's sports, people just don't call like they used to. They just don't. They listen. Right. And they'll send a text or they'll, I'll get an email during the week or that kind of thing. But I promise you, the only question that's a silly question is the one you don't ask. Because somebody else, just like Kim, I appreciate her this morning, somebody else wanted to know, is there anything you ought to put in there?
Right.
Right.
It's just, and it's okay. We're not going to embarrass you or do those kinds of things. But, and if you want to send me an email later, you can do that, rickshouseradio@gmail.com. Or send me a message on Facebook or call Heidi and Josh if you got a question about it.
Well, like I said, there's just the simple knowledge. The systems don't, everybody, what's the difference between an old system and a new system? Honestly, the difference is us, the people. We've changed.
Right.
Everything's antibacterial, toilet papers are thicker, or
right.
The washing machine's going to the septic tank nowadays compared to, it used to be
run out
across
the back,
ground.
Absolutely, run out in the backyard. That's that's how it was.
And people are honestly home more than what they used to be. Think about, we used to work 8 hours a day, be home for 6 hours a day, and then sleep the other time. But now we got families that are home all the time.
You eating dinner at 9:30.
So with that system being used, so we're not afraid to answer anything. Give anybody any information we can give them. If we can give you the answer or give you information to where somebody else down the road can't take you, we know we're going to get the business back on the other end because we at least told you the truth. So,
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. And that's what you're looking for, folks.
Oh, yeah.
In any type of home improvement project that we talk about, or business in general. And we've been fortunate to have that. And I appreciate it so much. And, it's good to have those kinds of folks that we have, whether it's Knoxville Salvage, Old City Kitchens, August Excavation, Top Septic, Senor Taco, Cancun Mexican Restaurant, Cozy Mountain Cabins, Miracle Method, Circulation Station, Preferred Modular Homes, Custom. We're CMG, man.
Oh, yeah.
We had a situation. Well, let's take that time out and we'll come back. I'm gonna share this with Josh and Heidi because they'll appreciate it. And the boys from CMG is going to be in 2 weeks to visit with us. We're going to do that, and when we come back, and we're going to have more conversation. The phone lines are open, 865-932-7449 or 865-255-3911 for the Miracle Method message line. Wyatt, tell them.
We'll be right back, folks.
WSEV-FM, Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee's new mix, 105.5.
Don't wake up in the cold. Let CMG inspect and service your unit for extreme weather before there's a problem. Free estimates and second opinions. CMG Mechanical Services, LLC, 865-770-1561. 865-770-1561. Gas furnaces and heat pumps, new installations, gas lines, and gas log installations as well. CMG Mechanical Services, 865-770-1561.
This responsible gaming message is brought to you by the Tennessee Lottery. When you play the lottery, it's important to play responsibly. Know your limit and spend only what you can afford. Set a budget and stick to it. And remember, as long as you're having fun, you're always a winner in our book. The Tennessee Lottery is a proud supporter of National Problem Gambling Awareness Month. To learn more about problem gambling resources, visit tnlottery.com.
Huh. That's a $10 bill.
Finding a $10 bill on the couch is a win.
And another one. And another one. And another
Finding
one.
100 $10 bills? Now that's a multiplier win.
Honey, this couch is like an ATM. Go check the one in the bonus room.
Multiply your win again and again with a Multiplier Instant Games. Play today to multiply your win 10, 20, 50, 100, or even 200 times for the chance at a $1 million top prize. The Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
Looking for the perfect storage solution? Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage is the area's premier self-storage facility. Located next to the Home Depot at the Allensville Square Center in Sevierville, we offer climate-controlled and non-climate-controlled units, plus indoor RV and boat storage. Enjoy top-notch amenities like 24-hour surveillance and 3 covered unloading zones. Need to unload a tractor-trailer or a truck? We have a loading dock too. Sign up today and get 1 month free plus a complimentary True Shine car wash. Highway 66 Climate and Mini Storage, the perfect solution for your storage needs.
The all-new Mix 105.5 is looking for 2 great people to join our sales staff. If you are energetic and highly motivated to achieve all the goals you have, we want to talk to you today. Don't let your previous jobs hold you back from finding out how rewarding a position at Mix 105.5 can be. Base plus commission gets you started. Go to Mix1055.com, look for the Work With Us button. Again, that's Mix1055.com and work with us. East Tennessee Radio Group at Mix 105.5 or Equal Opportunity Employer. Start your new career today, Mix1055.com. Work with us. Do it now.
When severe weather strikes, Mix 105.5 is here to provide the latest information with your severe weather alert. Brought to you by Sevier County Electric System. When you change phones, no matter if it's a landline or cell phone, make sure Sevier County Electric System has your new phone number.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad one. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-7377. 1402 423 736 1402.
Now, with more of the classic hits.
Oh, good Saturday morning. You missed your part.
I know. Well, I forgot to remove something out of the log and it fired up on me.
You zigged when you should have zagged.
That's exactly what I did. And it's got a bad case of cranial inversion with corn in the way.
There's always corn.
There's always corn.
Folks, I'm just going to tell you, if it don't break down there, I'll tell you something.
It ain't going to break down nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I know. I'm just saying, you know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's why we run trucks on it.
Welcome to the corn version of Rick's House Radio Show.
I'm telling you, that's something else now. Golly, is it 25 after?
It is. We went.
We just now getting cranked up.
I know, isn't that something?
We're just catching stride right
That's
now.
it. Thank God. We just got our second and third wind.
Absolutely.
Just as long as nobody's breaking the wind, we'll be all right.
Yeah. That's why we got what?
And corn.
Yeah, it's your specialty. That's right. So they can call you during the week. And if they've got questions or, they don't know what they need to do, don't know how to locate the lid, don't know what to look for. I mean, a lot of folks don't know about that. And really and truly, folks, you ought to be having it about every 5 years. It's only going to help it. A system, it's only going to help it to perform better, I should say. And it's not expensive to do, in my opinion. I mean, y'all, what's average? I mean, I know that's
typical's $375 for pumping, 50 to 150 for digging up the lid, and the risers could be anywhere from $175 to $275.
Yeah, so it's an affordable expense, especially for the benefit that you get out of it and letting the system recover.
If you don't do it and it backs up into the house,
then you got a problem.
And we don't want to do the emergency calls, but same way, our guys work Monday through Friday, and Saturday's liable to roll around, and we got to send one of them out there. By the time Friday rolls around, they're already sitting in time and a half,
Right, exactly. And they don't want to get up out of bed and go do it, but you got to do it. I mean, that's part of the business, but that you got to pay them for it.
Right. So the routine maintenance takes care of a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same with anything. We have a tendency, we maintain our cars for the most part, but we forget about our houses.
Yeah. Well, that's Heidi's favorite saying. She's like, well, how long are you going to go without changing the oil in your car? That's $100 to do right there.
I guarantee you.
Every 2 months anymore.
Absolutely. It's the cost of living is just, if you'd have told me when I was young what it would cost us to live now, it just don't make it. It don't compute. Have you bought eggs lately?
No.
We went without eggs for a while until I found some on sale and thought I'd done good at $6 a dozen. I mean, good gracious.
Chickens.
Yeah, no joke. If I had a place to put them, I'd have me some chickens.
Yeah.
I'd have me some Rhode Island Reds. They good layers.
There you go.
I guarantee you. Well, what we got coming up after me?
Well, we got Let's Talk Real Estate with Lee Linhart and Terry Williams. And then we've got Law Talk with Heather McCoy and George Garrison coming in at 10.
Brother George. I like George. And then he'll tell you straight.
I get the afternoon off because no Carson Newman today because we're waiting on the NCAA Division II tournament draw that'll happen Sunday night. But then I'll be at Oak Ridge High School tonight at 6:45 p.m. with the Eastern Regional Sub-State.
That's going to be a good one.
Sevier County Smoky Barretts versus the Oak Ridge Lady Wildcats tonight. So,
that's going to be an exciting one right there.
Winner goes to the Glass House Murphy Center at MTSU for the Blue Cross State Basketball Championships. The loser waits till next November.
Hey, how about that? So that's good stuff. Tell them again how they get y'all.
You can call us at 865-599-1690. We're online at topsepticservice.net. You can also text that phone number.
Absolutely. And you can find us. You can send me a message at rickshouseradio@gmail.com. I'll get you all in touch with them. Find them on Facebook. Got a good Facebook page out there too. So whatever you need, we'll make that happen. And we appreciate y'all for coming in. And we thank you so much for what you do for us and allow us to flip our jaws and talk about corn on the program.
And yes, thank you for the laughter. Thank you for the laughter.
One thing about it, we're going to have a good time.
That's exactly right.
That's one thing that we're going to do here. So listen, we appreciate you so much. God bless you. Put your arms around them babies and hug them. Tell somebody you love them. Tell somebody that you're proud of their service and you appreciate what they did for you. I promise you, you don't never know, folks. You can be here one day and gone the next. So we'll see you next Saturday right back here with our friends from Preferred Custom Homes Modular on Rick's House, 105.5 The Mix. Tell them, son.
We'll be right back.
Next week.
2025, a time for new beginnings. Whether you want to buy a home or sell a home, call me. I can help. Terry Williams, 865-556-4111 or 392-5885.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Real Estate.